Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Shamaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sharvakayeshu Sharvada. Saraswate Namastubhyam Varadhe Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Mishada. Suklam Bharadaram Vishnum Kashivarnam Chaturpujam Prasanna Dhyaye Sarva Vigno Pashantaye. Salutations to Lord Hanuman, who is present wherever or whenever the names of Lord Rama is chanted, or wherever or whenever Ramayana is being read. Yatra yatra Raghunama Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Krisamasta Kanjalim Bashpavari Paripurna Lochanam Marutihim Namatta Raksha Shantakam. Pujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam. So, Jai Sri Ram to everybody. We are in the 28th session of our Srimad Valmiki Ramayana class. And as usual, before we go into the 28th session, let us review what we have covered in the last session, 27th session of Srimad Valmiki Ramayanam class. So the last session, we have covered Yuddha Kandam from chapters 51 to 59. So we only looked at 9 chapters. So what are the chapters that we have looked at in our last session? We looked at the chapter 51 when Dhumraksha enters the battlefield. So when Dhumraksha enters the battlefield, Hanuman will go and meet Dhumraksha and he will defeat Dhumraksha. Dhumraksha will be slain. So when Dhumraksha was slain, Ravana will send another Rakshasa called Vajradamsa. And Vajradamsa enters into the battlefield. When he enters into the battlefield, they were all evil omens. Omens are not very good. So the Nimitta Shastra was not very good. Same also happens to Dhumraksha. So when Vajradamsa enters into the battlefield, Angada, son of Bali, went to fight with Vajradamsa. And Angada easily defeated Vajradamsa. And then Ravana will send another warrior called Akampana. Akampana goes into the battlefield. It was said Akampana was a great warrior. Okay, he enters the battlefield. Again, when Akampana goes into the battlefield, also he had negative omens, evil omens, but yet he ignored all that and he went to the battlefield. And Hanuman met Akampana. There was a great fight between Hanuman and Akampana. And finally, Hanuman have defeated Akampana. And then Ravana will send another warrior called Prahasta. Prahasta was his commander in chief for the Rakshasa. And also one of the minister of Ravana. And Prahasta goes to the battle. Now, in order to meet Prahasta, okay, Nila will go and fight with Prahasta. And of course, Vibhishana will be explaining to Rama who Prahasta is and then what are his strength, the strength of Prahasta. So Nila, son of Agni, okay, the commander in chief of the Vanara army, will go and fight with Prahasta, and he will defeat Prahasta. And then chapter 59, Ravana himself enters into the battlefield. And he sees that all his great warriors have been defeated by the Vanaras. Ravana decided he himself appears into the battlefield. And chapter 59 of Srimad in Yuddhakanda of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana is quite a long chapter, about over 140 over slokas. And in this chapter, Ravana enters. So when Ravana enters the battlefield, Rama, looking at Ravana, what did they say? I am producing these verses here again. Chapter 59, verse 27 to 31. Looking at Ravana, Rama said, what a brilliant, what a tejas, what an immense power that Ravana has. The ruler of Rakshasas. Ravana is difficult to behold, like rays of blazing sun. His true form cannot be clearly seen, covered by his dazzling radiance. And Rama also mentions the body of no Deva, Danava, Vira radiates with such brilliance as those of Rakshasa king. These are what has been reported by Valmiki. Valmiki reported how Rama looks at Ravana. And Valmiki also reported, if you look at Sundarakanda, if you are able to remember from Sundarakanda, when Hanuman met Ravana, what a tejas, what a brilliance. Ravana, he said, he imagined that the Ravana will be fit to become king of heaven, could even overtake Indra himself, if he has no that qualities, the negative quality that he has. But in other words, if you look at verse 30 and 31, Rama said, the ruler of the demons, the Rakshasas, surrounded by various what? Dazzling with intensity, and who look fierce with huge bodies like Yama himself. By the grace of providence, destiny, this sinner has fallen in line of my side. And today I shall wend my wrath, okay, towards him, because he has abducted Sita. This is what mentioned by Rama. Okay, and then there was a fight between Rama and Ravana, round one. Of course, they will be going into round two, second and the final round. Now, the first round of battle between Rama and Ravana, Ravana lost. Ravana lost because Ravana was overconfident. Ravana lost. Then Rama said to Ravana, who lost his globe with his crown being smashed, rendered powerless like a serpent that has lost its venom, and dull like a sun who has lost his brilliance with his rays dimmed. So Rama said to Ravana, you have indeed accomplished a terrific feat in having many warriors killed. So I take it that you are exhausted, and I spare you from being sent to the throes of death. Go, O king of Rakshasas. I know you are exhausted. Go to Lanka, take a rest, recover, come back with chariot and bow from your chariots. Go, you can go now and witness my strength the next day. So what happened? Ravana, with his crestfallen pride, all have been smashed. He hurried back to Lanka. Okay, he was in a state of depression, frustration, and depression. That was what happened to Ravana. Ravana couldn't take it. He was unable to accept the defeat. Okay, so for Ravana, we looked at the previous session, and I think the earlier session, I have also mentioned to you about Ravana, who had gone through various stages of warning, receiving warning. In the beginning, he received from Maricha, Jatayu, and then later when Hanuman came to Lanka, and then when he had an assembly with the ministers, some of the ministers spoke. Even Kumbhakarna also spoke that what he did was not right. He needs to return Sita back to Rama. Vibhishana spoke again, 3 times Vibhishana spoke. And then later Malyavan, his own wife, Mandodari, Kaikeyi, all of them have given advice. And at stage 4, we find that Ravana being defeated by Rama, that itself could have given him the further opportunity. Rama had given him opportunity. Several opportunity has been given when Hanuman was sent as a messenger. And then before the start of the war, Angada was sent as a messenger. Now Ravana defeated. And he told Ravana, go today, come back tomorrow. But Ravana still unable to see the sign, see the signal, due to his delusion. What is a delusion? Everyone being deluded. If you have Ravana within you, we are also deluded. Every one of us. Deluded due to karma, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. These are I have covered the last session. So in the last session, I have also mentioned to you about this a model that is taken from Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad is a beautiful Upanishad dialogue between Yamaraja and a boy called Nachiketa. Nachiketa will be proposed by his father to go and meet Yama. So in one of the verses in Katha Upanishad, it says, the body of ours is like a chariot. Atmanam radinam viti. Atma is in a chariot with 5 horses. Okay, senses of seeing. The 5 horses represents our 5 senses: senses of seeing, senses of hearing, senses of touch, senses of smell, all that. And then the driving instrument is our mind, mana. The driver is intelligent. The Atma is a passenger. So, in order to overcome the enemy within, one must be able to use the intelligence. You, the driver, the intelligence must be able to use the mind. Bhagavad Gita also mentions in chapter 6, verse 5, chapter 6, verse 6, 5, verse 5 and 6. For one who's able to manage his mind, the mind can be his friend. For one who's unable to manage his mind, the mind will be the enemy. So remember, this is what we have covered the previous session. So there are sometimes people will be questioning this. Why Rama did not kill Ravana during the first round, right away? Okay, so reasons are many. Rama is giving opportunity after opportunity. Remember, the opportunity has given when Hanuman came as a messenger, as a duta, Ramaduta. And then another duta was sent before the war, Angada, before Rama himself communicated to Ravana. Killing should be last resort. Danda, or the punishment should be the last resort, not the first. Always try to correct a person. If not correct, you are not able to correct the person. Incorrigible, cannot be corrected. Last resort, you can use danda, punishment. So I teach fields like human resource management, labor laws, termination, dismissal, and related areas. So I will always advise managers, first, practice good human resource management practice. You have a good HR practices in your organization. Take care of your people well. Do your level best to take care of them. Good HR practices. But even after doing your level best to avoid any form of termination, if no choice, last resort, due to misconduct, due to poor performance, whatever reasons that will enable termination to be meted out, yes, you can take it, but take it as a final resort, last resort, not the first. The same applies here. Danda should be at the last, not the first. So the other one is based on an order. The Rakshasas are still there. There are many Rakshasas are there. Why should Ravana to be killed first? It should be the last. So that is another reason given here. Okay. So in today's session, session 28 session, we are going to look at 20 chapters, but I will try to cover the 20 chapters within 1.5 hours. Because of the time factor, we will not be able to go through very detailed. Some of the chapters I'm just going to go through briefly. So what happened to Ravana after he was defeated by Rama? Ravana was, he feels depressed. He's looking for someone who is able to help him. So he remembers his brother, Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna, great warrior. Kumbhakarna, very powerful warrior. And he has his son also, Indrajit. But here, he decided to wake up his brother, Kumbhakarna. And Rama inquires about Kumbhakarna. Who is this Kumbhakarna? When Kumbhakarna awakened by the Rakshasas. And Vibhishana will be narrating about Kumbhakarna. And then Kumbhakarna will enter into Ravana's abode. And he will assure Ravana, although he will advise Ravana, that Ravana will tell him, this is not the time to hear your advice, O Kumbhakarna. Gone are the gone, past are the past, have gone. We cannot change. So then Kumbhakarna will reassure Ravana. Okay, and then another what they call Rakshasa called Mahodara will give some advice, and then Kumbhakarna will rebuke Mahodara. And then when Kumbhakarna enters into the battlefield, the Vanaras were afraid of Kumbhakarna's size. They were running here and there, but Angada, the son of Bali, will reassure the Vanaras. And then chapter 67 is a chapter where we will be learning about Kumbhakarna Vadam. Okay, before that, Kumbhakarna will carry Sugriva, and Hanuman will be in dilemma whether to go and rescue Sugriva or not. All that we'll be covering later. So when Kumbhakarna was slain, Ravana was in grief again. He cannot imagine that Kumbhakarna, great warrior, has been slain by Rama. Okay, and then he will send other Rakshasas like Narantaka. Also, is one of his sons, Narantaka, Trishara, Adhikaya. Adhikaya is also a son of Ravana to Dhanyamalini. So when Adhikaya also died, was killed by Lakshmana, Ravana again grieved for the death of Adhikaya. And then Indrajit will be sent to the battlefield. Indrajit will send into the battlefield. He will release Astras again. He will be doing Maya Jal. He is a very, very great warrior actually in the Indrajit. So Rama and Lakshmana will again fall unconscious. Not only Rama and Lakshmana, whole Vanara army fell unconscious. Jambavan also fell unconscious. Viva, Nila, Nala, Dvida, Mainda, all the great warriors, Gawa, Gavaska, Kumuda, Rishabha, all of them fell unconscious. And then when, except Vibhishana and Hanuman was not unconscious. And Vibhishana and Hanuman was going around. They've met Jambavan. And Jambavan was not able to see. But hearing the voice of Vibhishana, Jambavan will inquire. First thing Jambavan will inquire is that is Hanuman alive? So Vibhishana will be wondering, why are you asking about Hanuman? Why not you asking? Why did you not ask about Rama, Lakshmana, or even Sugriva? Then Jambavan will say, if Hanuman is alive, we all will be saved. Then of course he will tell Hanuman about the Sanjeevi Karma, Sanjeevi, okay, and all the herbs. So Hanuman will go to Himalayas in order to get. So when Hanuman brought in, he took the entire mountain. When Hanuman came, with the smell of those herbs, the whole Vanaras, they regain their energy. And then the battle will resume. And Sugriva will kill Kumbha. Kumbha is son of Kumbhakarna. And another son of Kumbhakarna is Nikumba. Nikumba also enters into the battlefield. Then Ravana will order Makarakshan. Makaraksha will challenge Rama and he will be defeated by Rama. Makaraksha is a son of Khara. Khara is one of the demons that was defeated by Rama, that was killed by Rama in Dandakaranya. Okay, now let's look at chapter 60. As I said to you, due to the time factor, some of the chapter I'm going to go through briefly. We need to complete within 1.5 hours, around 1.5 hours. So in chapter 60, Ravana, after being defeated by Rama, he sat on his throne, feeling dejected. He's reflecting how I have been defeated by a mere mortal, by a human. I still remember Brahma's words. Brahma said to Ravana, because Ravana exempted uh, humans and also Vanaras when he asked boons. When he requested the boons, he thought humans and Vanaras are very weak. No way they can defeat him. So what happened was that Ravana was reflecting on his past curses. One of the curse he remember was a curse by a king called Anaranjan. A king Anaranya is the from Ishwaku dynasty, ancestor of Rama. If you go into ancestors of Rama in Balakandam, it is mentioned before the wedding between Rama and Sita, there will be ancestry of Rama will be given list by entire list of ancestry of Rama will be given there, and ancestry of Sita also will be given there. So if you look at the ancestry of Rama, one of the ancestors of Rama, a king who ruled Ayodhya, was Anaranjan. The king Anaranja and Ravana once had a fight. They fought, and Anaranja was defeated by Ravana. Ravana killed Anaranja. So, sorry, not Anaranja, Anaranjan. Okay, when he killed Anaranjan, before he breathed his last, Anaranjan cursed Ravana that one of the descendant from the Ishwaku dynasty will kill him. You have killed me, O Ravana. You have defeated me, O Ravana, said Anaranja. But one of my descendants who will come in Ishwaku dynasty will definitely kill you. So Ravana remembers that curse from Anaranja. And then Ravana also remembered the curse of Vedavati, whom she violated. And the description when Ravana violated Vedavati will be described in Uttarakanda of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. Of course, we are not going to go into Uttarakanda, but I'm mentioning, and it is also reflected by Ravana in this chapter. And then Ravana sees that it's Vedavati who came as Sita. And then there is also a curse from Parvati, Uma, that cursed him that his death will result from a woman. And Ravana reflecting, this cannot come true. Okay? So he said, awaken Kumbhakarna, because he feels that Kumbhakarna alone is capable of fighting these heroes. And Kumbhakarna usually sleeps for 9, 10, or 8 months. And he has just gone to sleep only 9 days ago after consultation, after our consultation. So wake him up, he told the Rakshasas, wake Kumbhakarna up, for only he can deal with our enemy. So when you are looking into curses of Ravana, the list of curses, Parvati, Uma, said his downfall will be through a woman. Nandi, okay, when Ravana went to Kailasha, Nandi stopped him. So Ravana laughed at Nandi, saying that your face looked like a monkey. And then Nandi will curse Ravana. You are telling my face look like a monkey, but there will be monkeys who will be born in this world for your destruction. So there will be, there's actually a curse of Nandi, curse of Anaranjan that I have described earlier, that is mentioned in chapter 60. Curse from Vedavati, that she will come for his destruction. And Vedavati, Sita came as a Vedavati. Then Ramba and Nalakubera. So curse of Nalakubera to Ravana. And then also a curse of Punjikasthala and curse from Brahma when Punjikasthala reported about Ravana to Brahma. So these are all the curses. He has, actually there are a few more, but these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So now Ravana wanted Kumbhakarna to be awakened. See, Kumbhakarna has gone to sleep. So in order to, it's not easy to awaken Kumbhakarna when he starts to sleep. He has a huge body, huge size, large form, great giant. And it is said that the demons collected a lot of food, drink, and other articles which Kumbhakarna liked a lot. So in one of the original Ramayana, in Kamba Ramayana, it is mentioned, very beautifully mentioned, very detailed mentioned how they went to awaken Kumbhakarna. The awakening of Kumbhakarna itself is beautifully described. Okay, the demons collected a lot of food, drinks, and articles which Kumbhakarna liked. So they had to beat their drums, blow conch shells. They have to push their body. They have to bring in elephants in order to trample, to trumpet, to trample. Not easy to wake up Kumbhakarna, to awaken Kumbhakarna. So finally, okay, very beautifully described, very detailed description about what are the things that they used to awaken Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna actually reflects the tamasika guna. Tamasik, you have sattva guna, rajasic guna, and tamasika guna. Vibhishana, among the brothers, Vibhishana falls under sattvika guna, Ravana, rajasika guna, and Kumbhakarna is a tamasika guna, tamasic, a mode of ignorance. So, after the description, beautiful description about what are the things that he did in order to wake up Kumbhakarna. It was difficult to wake him up. Finally, they made thousands of elephant tramples on his body. And then he woke up. He was annoyed. He was angry. He woke up. The moment he woke up, he became angry. Not only he became angry, he became hungry. He eats a lot. So the demons directed his attention to a pile of food. So when Kumbhakarna was satisfied after eating, what he ate, Valmiki Ramayana describes in detail. And some of the original Ramayana also describes in detail what are the menu that was presented to Kumbhakarna. They mentioned buffaloes, deer, all that mentioned. Everything is mentioned that Kumbhakarna was served to Kumbhakarna. Okay. Kumbhakarna, after he awoke, after he ate all the food that has been given to him, he asked, why had they awakened him? What urgent business the king had? And they have to describe all that has happened. All the things that have happened. Then Kumbhakarna roared, I shall immediately proceed to the battlefield and destroy the Vanara forces, also Rama and Lakshmana. Only then I'm going to see Ravana, the king. But the demon suggested, you should first see the king. You should go and see Ravana. Only then do what is appropriate. Now, on the instruction of Ravana's instruction, okay, Kumbhakarna was politely invited to the king's court. So there are descriptions, what are the things that they have done, very detailed descriptions are there about how Kumbhakarna went to the palace of Ravana. Seeing his gigantic form striking the earth, the Vanaras got frightened and Kumbhakarna started to walk. And Rama also saw terrible looking Kumbhakarna walking the earth as he were a cosmic person. Even Valmiki described this just like Narayana when he took Trivikrama Avtara. You remember Narayana, the Lord Vishnu, took the form of Vamana, dwarf, asking for 3 feet of land from Mahabali, King Bali, Mahabali. So when he grew, when he started, first he covered the earth. Second, he covered the Indraloka. So when the Lord grew, the way that the Valmiki images, just like when Lord took the Trivikrama Avtara, very huge size. So Vibhishana, Rama requested Vibhishana, please Vibhishana, tell who this is. Is he a demon or a goblin? I've never seen anything like this till now. In reply, Vibhishana told the biography of Kumbhakarna, very detailed biography of Kumbhakarna will be given by Vibhishana. If you want to know more about Kumbhakarna, it is there in Uttarakanda of Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki Ramayana, Uttarakanda provides not only about the history about Kumbhakarna, but also history about Ravana. History about Ravana is also there. History about Vibhishana is also there. About Vibhishana, about Ravana, about Kumbhakarna, how they did tapasya. All are provided, all are given there in Uttarakanda of Ramayana. So Vibhishana would say, he is a Kumbhakarna, son of renowned sage Vaishrava. He defeated in war all gods, demigods, and demons. Even as a baby, he devoured thousands of living beings. Indra himself defended the living beings and hit Kumbhakarna with his thunderbolt, with his Vajrayuda, but he did not die. But he pulled out the tusks of Indra's elephant, Airavata, and hit Indra with that. The gods and Indra therefore appealed to Brahma, and Brahma was shocked by the misdeed of one of his great grandsons. And Brahma cursed Kumbhakarna, before you can destroy a world, may you enter into perpetual sleep. There is also another reason why Kumbhakarna had to sleep, because when he asked for a boon at that time, Saraswati went into his tongue. Instead of asking Nitya, the word Nitya became Nitra. Nitya is eternally, Nitra means sleep, asking for eternal, like to sleep. So Saraswati entered into his mouth when he was asking for boon. So that is the reason why he has been like, it's like a curse for him, he was going to sleep. And Brahma himself here, even here, he says that Kumbhakarna appealed to Ravana, who pleaded with Brahma. Okay, it is not right you curse your great grandson, yet the curse cannot be falsified. Please modify by stipulating the period of which he would sleep at a time. And Brahma said he will sleep continuously for a period of 6 months, and then he will be awake for a day during which he will be hungry, very hungry. And I think having been defeated by you, Ravana has awakened Kumbhakarna. This is a description where Vibhishana is still describing to Rama about Kumbhakarna. So when Vanara saw Kumbhakarna, they fled in terror. They are not, they are afraid to face Kumbhakarna, who's coming in a big size. So Vibhishana suggests, I therefore suggest it is announced that this is just a mechanical device, not a living being. That should restore the confidence of the Vanaras. Pleased with this account, Rama instructed the commander-in-chief that the entire army was alert. Commander-in-chief is Nila, son of Agni. At the same time, Kumbhakarna walked into the presence of mighty Ravana. Ravana rose from his seat, showed extraordinary love, respect, and affection for his brother Kumbhakarna. And Kumbhakarna asked Ravana, what can I do for you, brother? For what I have been awakened with such effort. And Ravana lifted him and gave him place next to him. Oh, brother, you have slept for a long time. In the meantime, our enemy Rama managed to cross the ocean and actually besiege Lanka. You can see for yourself, the whole Lanka has been transformed into a sea of Vanaras. We have tried to fight that, but only you can deal with that. It is for this purpose that we woke you up. Please save Lanka, which only has children and each one's left. I'm sure you realize that I have never before asked for such a favor. Please do this for the sake of your brother. You are our only hope. You are our last resort. No one is equal to you in strength in the whole world. If you enter the battlefield, the enemy will vanish. And Kumbhakarna laughed, hearing Ravana's plea. He said, I told you so. You indulge in an action ignoring its obvious consequences and without seeking our advice and help. If you relate back to the counsel that Ravana had, Kumbhakarna spoke brilliantly based on the principles of Dharma. But Ravana did not listen. Again, Kumbhakarna is telling, one should certainly seek Dharma, Artha, Kama, but in its own time and place. Having consulted with this minister, a king who resort to negotiation, okay, giving presents, Sama Beda, Sama Dana Beda Danta is very important, he says. Shouldn't come to a grief. Yet again, not everyone can advise a king. Here Kumbhakarna says, there are unwise people who are ignorant of scriptures and who really know better than these who come forward to counsel a king on account of greed. To follow their counsel would bring disaster. This is a lesson Kumbhakarna is telling. Do not surround yourself with a yes man. This was also mentioned by Maricha in Aranyakanda. Okay. So finally, Kumbhakarna says, surely the best thing for you to do, as pointed out by me and by Vibhishana, is to restore Sita to Rama. This is what was mentioned by Kumbhakarna, but Ravana was impatient. Ravana had no time to listen to any of this sermon. He angrily replied, why do you preach as if you were my guru or father? Let us consider what to be done now. The past is past. It's no use worrying over it. Even if I have done something wrong, you can nullify the consequences by your power. Kumbhakarna jumped up. Fear not, brother. I advise you out of brotherly affection. However, you will witness my strength again today. I shall avenge the death of our heroes. Command, I shall go immediately and destroy your enemy. I can break up the earth, I can shake and create disorder in the heavens. Enjoy and be cheerful. Consider that Rama is dead and Sita is yours. That's what Kumbhakarna told Ravana. There is a counselor of Ravana called Mahodara intervened and said to Kumbhakarna, he told Kumbhakarna, you are vain and ignorant. Both the virtues and the wishes enjoy life in this world. Enjoyment of pleasure alone is a worldly pursuit. The king is right in his wish to enjoy life with Sita. Further, I do not consider your physical power will be of any avail before Rama. He turned to Ravana and he said, you abducted Sita and brought her here. The important thing now is to enjoy her, to persuade her to submit to your desire. I have a nice plot. Spread the word that Kumbhakarna, along with a couple of commanders and myself, have gone to fight Rama. If we succeed, it's all right. If we don't, we shall return to you with Rama missiles clearly marked on our body. Spread the rumor that we have eaten Rama. Spread the rumor that we have eaten Rama. Rumor that we have eaten Rama spreads to the whole Lanka. Sita will hear it and give up hope. At the same time, try to win her favor by secretly approaching her with presents, jewels, and other temptation. And he says here, wise people in this world achieve their desired ends without even going to a battle. Something like Sun Tzu out of war. Sun Tzu is saying that the best form of victory is a victory without going for a war. But here, Kumbhakarna rebuffed Mahodara. He derided Mahodara for his cowardly suggestion. He said, cowardly minister ruin a king's portion by shying away from a good fight. And Ravana appalled at Kumbhakarna's words. Kumbhakarna grabbed a trident, Trisul, trident, and was ready to go for war all alone. But Ravana told him, take the army with you, O hero. The Vanaras are powerful. If they find someone alone, unguarded, they might overcome you. Okay. Further, to show affection, appreciation, hope, and conviction, Ravana embraced Kumbhakarna. Placed golden necklace with gems around his neck and respectfully bowed down to him, his brother. Kumbhakarna dressed himself for the battle, holding a blazing trident in his hand, followed by mighty heroes with his army. Kumbhakarna set out to battlefield. He was fierce to look at. He roared aloud, I shall make a meal of all the Vanaras. I shall kill Rama himself, who is the source of the Vanara strength. The evil omens appeared again. Kumbhakarna, you remember that all the demons when they entered the battlefield. If you remember Dumraksha, Vajradhamsta, Akampana earlier on, and also Prahasta, all of them when they were going to the battlefield, all the Nimitta Shastra was not really good. The evil omens was there, but that did not deter them. And they went and they were defeated. Even here for Kumbhakarna, a lot of evil omens would be described there by Valmiki. If you look at the Valmiki, that particular chapter when Kumbhakarna was entering into the battlefield, a lot of that are described. So in chapter 66 of Srimad Yuddhakanda of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana, when Kumbhakarna entered into the battlefield, the Vanaras fled in panic. They were running here and there because they were scared, looking at the huge form of Kumbhakarna, like a huge, gigantic mountain. Angada, son of Vali, tried to reason with the Vanaras not to flee, don't run. He said, the demon may be powerful, but it cannot face Rama, for no one can face Rama. That was a word from Angada to the Vanaras. So Vanaras returned. So Vanaras returns. They return. They attack Kumbhakarna. But Kumbhakarna ruthlessly crushed them. He was crushing them. On the rocks and mountain peaks, they threw at him, broke on striking him. Angada appealed to Vanaras again. Why are you running, O Vanaras? Even your wives will laugh at you in contempt if you run away from the battlefield. Noble Vanara, though you are, you behave as if you are uncultured being, greatly agitated by fear. If it is time for us to die, let us die. Give up our life here. If we win the battle, we shall enjoy this earth. If we lose our life, we shall reach the highest heaven. I remember in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also mentions the same. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also have a similar advice he gave to Arjuna. Okay, the same also given by Angada to the Vanaras. But Angada assured the Vanaras, but I assure you, Kumbhakarna cannot escape death at Ravana's hands. Sorry, Rama's hands. But the Vanaras replied, Kumbhakarna has devastated our forces. It is not the time to stand up and fight. We should leave. Our lives are indeed dear to us. However, Angada was able to persuade them to return to the battlefield. So once again, the Vanaras attacked Kumbhakarna. In a very short time, it was mentioned that 8,700 Vanaras had fallen at his hands. Even Hanuman was wounded by Kumbhakarna's trident. And Nila, the commander-in-chief, managed to inspire the Vanaras with confidence. The Vanaras, finding Kumbhakarna standing in front of them like a mountain, ascended that mountain and began to bite him. Kumbhakarna caught hold of these Vanaras and put them into his mouth, intent of swallowing them. But these Vanaras escaped through his nostrils and ears. However, Kumbhakarna continued to eat the Vanaras, kill them ruthlessly. And Vanaras appealed to Rama, and Angada rushed to their relief. Angada, son of Vali, picked up a mountain peak and threw it at Kumbhakarna. Enraged at that, Kumbhakarna hurled his trident at Angada. Angada dodged it in retaliation, hit the demon with his chest. The demon fainted. See, Kumbhakarna fainted when Angada hit the demon with his fist. Okay, so on recovering, Kumbhakarna clenched his fist and struck Angada, and then Angada became unconscious. Now, Kumbhakarna, when Angada became unconscious, what happened? Kumbhakarna turned towards Sugriva. So Sugriva also challenged Kumbhakarna. Sugriva picked up a mountain peak. He challenged Kumbhakarna. He told Kumbhakarna, leave the Vanara warriors alone. Look what I will do to you now. The rock that he threw broke into pieces as it hit Kumbhakarna's chest. The demon hurled his trident at Kumbhakarna. Sorry, the demon hurled his trident at Sugriva. But here it said, Hanuman intercepted it and caught hold of it, calmly placed it on his knee, and he broke it. And Kumbhakarna was amazed, surprised, and enraged at the extraordinary feat of Hanuman. He broke loose a huge rock and hit Sugriva with it. When Sugriva was hit by the huge rock that was sent by Kumbhakarna, King Sugriva became unconscious. So when Sugriva became unconscious, Kumbhakarna walked towards where Sugriva had fallen, picked him up, tucked him into his armpit, and walked towards Lanka. Because Kumbhakarna knew that with Sugriva out of the way, the others, including Rama and Lakshmana, likely to surrender. Because the king has been taken as a captive. So Kumbhakarna putting what he called Sugriva into his armpit and he walking towards Lanka. Kumbhakarna is walking towards Lanka with Sugriva. Imagine the scenario. Look at that particular moment when the leader, the king, is being taken away. What is going to happen to the Vanaras? Vanara leaders. Even Rama, Lakshmana, Vibhishana. So, at that particular moment, Hanuman reflected. Very important for us to note here, Hanuman's reflection there. Hanuman reflected, what shall I do now? Hanuman thought, I can assume gigantic form. He can expand himself. Remember, Hanuman can expand into hundreds of yojanas. Ashtama city he has. One who has the Ashtama city will be able to become larger than the largest, smaller than the smallest. Remember Ashtama city. Hashiti now niti kitata ashwarin janaki mata, where in Hanuman Chalisa also it is mentioned that 8 cities. Ashta means 8 here. He can grow into a large forms. And he can kill this Kumbhakarna and rescue Sugriva. But Hanuman thought, if I do that, Sugriva's reputation would thereby suffer, and he may not like being rescued by me because I am just a minister for him. I'm an advisor for him. I should not go. I should not be saving him. If I save him, then his reputation will tarnish. So let me wait for a while to see the development. And in the meantime, restore the morale of the Vanara forces. So when it was said that in Valmiki Ramayana, Valmiki mentions that when Kumbhakarna was taking Sugriva into Lanka, they were all, Lanka people are all very happy, very, very happy just to see the victorious brother of Kumbhakarna. They were, what they call, throwing waters and here and there. So when Sugriva, the water fell on Sugriva, Sugriva regained his consciousness and realized his condition. After careful consideration, immediately Sugriva released himself, bite Kumbhakarna's ears and nose. He bite Kumbhakarna's ears and nose. Okay? He bite his ear. He bite off his ear, the ears of Kumbhakarna, nose of Kumbhakarna. Surprised thus by Sugriva. Sorely afflicted with pain, Kumbhakarna dashed Sugriva down, and the Vanara Shiro, the king of the Vanaras, sprang up at once, immediately returned to where Rama was, thus foiling the demon's plot. Dripping with blood, Kumbhakarna once again, he was entering into Lanka with Sugriva. So when Sugriva managed to what he call release himself, bite his ears and nose, and went back to Rama. So Kumbhakarna also had to go back to the battlefield. He was again going to the battlefield. Now for Kumbhakarna, he rushed to the Vanara army, and then Lakshmana there. Lakshmana was waiting for him there. Lakshmana shot a number of missiles at Kumbhakarna, who evaded there. And Lakshmana covered the demon with his missile, but unaffected by this, the demon said, Kumbhakarna said to Lakshmana, "Oh Lakshmana, I thoroughly appreciate your skill, oh Lakshmana. For no one has so far dared to oppose me. Even Indra was once routed by me. That you challenge me makes me respect you as a soldier. But, but I wish to kill Rama alone. When he's dead, it will be the end." As Kumbhakarna rushed towards Rama, Rama discharged a dreadful missile with the power of Rudra. And defying his powerful armor, the missile went right to his heart. The shock was so great that his weapon fell from his hands. Yet he ran wild, swallowing the Vanaras. Kumbhakarna hurled another mountain peak which looks terrible, and Rama, through his missile, broke the mountain peak. Lakshmana understood the demon's nature and suggested to Rama, the smell of blood intoxicates the demon. So he runs amok and kills the Vanaras. Though that it is not his aim. Let the Vanaras climb upon him, save others. Vanaras climb upon his body, but he shook them down. Rama said to Kumbhakarna, I am the destroyer of demons, and your death is at my hand. Kumbhakarna laughed aloud and replied. He said to Rama, I am not Virada, I am not Kabanda, I am not Khara, Vali, nor Maricha. I am Kumbhakarna, O Rama. Fight with me. I shall see how powerful you are. Rama directed at him the same missile which he instantly killed Vali, but they had no effect on Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna rushed towards Rama, who discharged Vayu Astra, wind missile. Vayu Astra was discharged by Rama at Kumbhakarna, and that Vayu Astra released by Rama, it cut off his upraised arm, which fell and killed many great warriors. Many warriors. And with another arm, Kumbhakarna uprooted a big tree and rushed towards Rama, who let fly another missile which severed that arm too. And roaring aloud, Kumbhakarna rushed towards Rama, taking up two crescent-shaped missiles. Rama cut both his legs. Without legs, Kumbhakarna was yet able to propel himself, came rushing towards Rama. With another missile, Rama cut off his head, even as Indra cut off the head of Vritasura in the days of yore. The narration between Indra and Vritasura many times will be narrated. In Valmiki Ramayana, you will have, in Mahabharata, you have, but more detail you will find in Bhagavata Purana mentions about that. Bhagavata Purana mentions about the Vritasura. Vritasura will be created by a sage called Toshta. Son of Toshta will be creating Asura called Vritasura. And Vritasura will be, there is a great narration given in Bhagavata Purana about Indra and Vritasura, the war between Indra and Vritasura. Okay. As that huge head fell, it rolled and bulldozed a number of buildings. Thus, the enemy of holy man, gods, has been killed by Rama. All the devas, demigods, gods and demigods who were witnessing the fight between Rama and Kumbhakarna, they rejoiced exceedingly because Kumbhakarna has been slain. Now with Kumbhakarna being slain, when the news that Kumbhakarna has been slain was reported to Ravana, what happened to Ravana? Ravana was consumed by grief. Consumed by grief. He lost his balance and he fell down. Ravana fainted. After regaining consciousness, Ravana lamented, "Why have you abandoned me and gone away, my brother Kumbhakarna? How is it possible, I wonder, that even you could be defeated? How you could have been defeated and slain in battle? What will I do even if I gain Sita now? Life is barren for me now that you, O Kumbhakarna, has gone." So now he's reflecting, Ravana is reflecting. I ridiculed Vibhishana and lost him. Now I have lost you. For whom shall I live now? It is certain that my wicked action in not listening to wise counsel of Vibhishana has borne fruit. Now even then, Ravana could have repented, but yet Ravana did not. Ravana wanted to fight. Continue, he wanted to fight. So Kumbhakarna is the destiny of the Kumbhakarna to be slain by Rama. Because Kumbhakarna is Vijaya, one of the gatekeeper of Vaikuntha. Remember, Jaya and Vijaya was cursed by the four Kumaras to be born in this earth. First they came as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakasipu. Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord in form of Narsimha. Hiranyakasipu was killed earlier by Lord in form of Varaha. And then Lord in form of Rama kills Kumbhakarna, who is a Vijaya. Jaya, Ravana will be killed later. Later on, the Lord will kill them again when they come as Sisubala and Dantavakra. So Kumbhakarna Vada completed. Kumbhakarna has been defeated, has been killed by Rama. So while he was lamenting, Ravana was lamenting, one of his sons, Trishara, came to console him. Undoubtedly, Kumbhakarna was a mighty warrior, great warrior. He has been killed by Rama. But that is surely no reason for you to lose heart. You have various weapons which Brahma himself has given to you. Stay here in Lanka, father. I shall go to the battlefield and kill your enemies. This revived Ravana's hope. With Ravana's blessing, his four sons, Trishara. Remember, there is also another Trishara that was killed by Rama in Dantakaranya. Trishara, you remember, that is Kara, Dushara, and Trishara was killed earlier. This is another Trishara, who is the son of Ravana. So he will send his four sons, Trishara, Devantaka, Narantaka, and Adikaya, together with his brothers, the Mahasparsha, Mahodara, will be sent to the battlefield. Surrounded by their armed forces, they look formidable and invisible. They were desperate and they were determined to win or to die in the battlefield. So Narantaka moved into the Vanara army. On the part of his advance, the Vanaras fell like flies. Wielding his flaming lance, Narantaka burned the Vanaras. The Vanaras were stuck with fear. They sought Sugriva's protection, and Sugriva commissioned Angada to deal with Narantakan. And Angada challenged Narantaka, "Leave the common Vanaras alone, O demon. Here I bear my chest. Try your strength on me." Annoyed by this challenge, Narantaka hurled the lance at Angada's chest. It broke, and Angada stuck Narantaka's chariot with his palm, and it sank into the earth. Angada hit the demon's chest with his clenched fist. His chest broken by this hit. Narantaka fell, vomiting blood. Narantaka was defeated by Angada. Then Narantaka's brothers, they are Devantaka, Trishara, and also Mahodara. Simultaneously, they attacked Angada. And Angada picked up a huge tree and hurled it at Devantaka. But Trishara intervened and cut the tree down. In this battle, while Mahodara intercepted Angada's missiles, Trishara attacked Angada. Though he was simultaneously attacked by three powerful Rakshasas, Angada was not disheartened. With a single blow, Angada killed Mahodara's elephant. Pulling out its stars, he hit Devantaka. The demon returned the blow. At the same time, Trishara also directed his missile at Angada. Finding him ill-matched, Hanuman and Nila joined Angada. Nila thereafter engaged, fought with Trishara. Devantaka fought with Hanuman. Rushing towards Devantaka, Hanuman felt such a deadly blow on his head, and Devantaka's skull was shattered and he fell dead. Now Devantaka has been defeated. Narantaka has been defeated by Angada. Now Devantaka has been defeated by Hanuman. Now Nila was fighting with Trishara. Mahodara began to attack Nila. For a moment, Nila found himself paralyzed. But regaining his strength, he hit Mahodara with great big rock, and Mahodara fell. Angered by this, Trishara directed his missile at Hanuman, and Hanuman hurled a mountain peak at Trishara, but later broke it up with his into pieces. Trishara threw a powerful javelin at Hanuman, who caught hold of it and broke it. Trishara then used his sword and severely wounded Hanuman. Hanuman wrested that sword from the demon. Trishara struck Hanuman once again. Hanuman cut off Trishara's head with his own sword. So Trishara here has been defeated. Mahodara has been defeated. Another demon, Mahaparsha, came forward to light. He wielded a glittering mace which was flaming all the time. With it, it conquered many gods and demigods. Now, Mahaparsha threw the Vanaras into utter confusion with his mace. And then another Vanara, great Vanara that is called Rishava, came to fight with Mahaparsha. The demon hit Rishava on his chest. Regaining his strength after a while, Rishava hit the demon on the chest. The demon fell, and Rishava pounced upon the demon. Mahaparsha got up after a few minutes and delivered severe, terrible blow on Rishava, who fell down, remained unconscious for a while. And getting up later, Rishava struck the demon who dashed towards the Vanara. However, before he could do so, Rishava killed Mahaparsha with his own mace, and the demon fell down. And the Rakshasa force, the demon force, beginning to flee. Now, another son of Ravana, called Adhikaya, now proceeded to the battlefield. Some of the Vanaras, when they saw Adhikaya, imagined that Kumbhakarna has risen from death, because Adhikaya also has a huge size, gigantic size. They fled when they saw Adhikaya. Rama questioned Vibhishana, who is this demon of Vibhishana? And Vibhishana said, he is Adhikaya, son of Ravana. He is son of Ravana to Danyamalini, another wife of Ravana called Danyamalini. Mandodari is a principal queen. He also has another queen called Danyamalini. He is too free from fear of death at the hands of gods and demons by virtue of the boon granted to him by Brahma. O Rama, be vigilant and get rid of him. Some of the Vanaras threw rocks and trees at him, but he dealt them all playfully. He would himself not strike anyone who's not attacking him. So he went straight to Rama and challenged him for a fight. But Lakshmana responded at once. When Lakshmana readied his weapon, terrible sound it produced astonished and pleased Adhikaya. Yet he said to Lakshmana, "You are but a young boy, O Lakshmana. Why do you wish to provoke me to kill you?" Lakshmana retorted, "Do not boast, O demon. Do not treat me lightly, considering me a mere boy. Whether I am a boy or an aged man, I am still your dad." That's what replied by Lakshmana to Adhikaya. And Lakshmana aimed powerful missiles at Adhikaya, who has the ability to neutralize it. Remember, Adhikaya is a very powerful warrior too. This is mentioned in Valmiki. Valmiki mentions detail about Adhikaya too, to Vivishana. Okay. Next, Lakshmana aimed a fat missile which shot the demon, severely injuring him, who said, "Ah, Lakshmana, that was excellent." Adhikaya shot Lakshmana with a terrible sharp missile which hit the demon's chest. Recovering from it, Lakshmana let go a terrible missile dedicated to god of fire, Agni Astra, and Adhikaya intercepted it with a missile dedicated to Surya. Both of the missiles met in space and got burned completely. Even when Lakshmana managed to hit the demon, the missile proved incapable of piercing his armor. Adhikaya directed the missile at Lakshmana, which had a zigzag course. Hit by it, Lakshmana fainted for a while. When he regained his consciousness, he heard the voice say, "These conventional weapons cannot kill him, O Lakshmana. Use the most powerful one, the Brahma missile, Brahmastra." Therefore, thereupon, Lakshmana used Brahmastra. As it was delivered from his weapon, it shook the earth. Adhikaya tried to intercept it, but the Brahma missile severed his head. So, what happened to Adhikaya? Adhikaya has been slain by Lakshmana. So, Ravana's anxiety mounted to hear Adhikaya's fall. So he said to his counselors, "Many of our people whom we had regarded as invisible had been killed by Rama and Lakshmana. And it indeed puzzles me. I think Rama, by whose strength the mighty demons has been killed, is Narayana himself. Hence, I feel it is essential that the greatest vigilance should be exercised by all of you. Let the city be guarded by unwinking vigilance. Be especially mindful of the movement of the Vanaras." Then Ravana's son Indrajit approached him and said, "Why do you feel depressed, O father, when I am by your side, ready to kill your enemies? Give me leave to go to the battlefield, and I promise I shall kill all of them, including Rama and Lakshmana." These are the words of Indrajit, Ravana's son, to his father. Indrajit at once got ready to go to the battlefield. So before he goes to the battlefield, he performed fire worship for the success of his mission. And Agnideva himself appeared in person to receive the offering. There was auspicious omens too. While Indrajit got ready, the mightiest missile which she had the power of the creator, the whole world shook. He himself remained hidden, provided cover for the demons who attacked the Vanaras vigorously. The Vanaras detected Indrajit's position in the sky and threw trees and rocks at him. But this only enraged him. still further made him attack the Vanara more viciously. He himself secured direct hits on the foremost among the Vanara's heroes: Gandamadana, Nala, Mainda, Gaja, Jambavan, Nila, Sugriva, Rishabha, Duvida, Angada, all had been seriously injured by Indrajit's missile. And Indrajit remained unseen by others, flew over the Vanara forces, carefully avoiding his own armies, and then showered bombs upon the Vanaras. Indrajit released a shower of varieties of missiles, bombs resembling missiles, of which of them descending upon the Vanaras, burning brightly. Any Vanaras who dared to look upon this phenomenon had his eyes blinded or put out by the spark and the missiles. Indrajit then turned his attention towards Rama and Lakshmana and covered them with fire. Rama said to Lakshmana, "Surely Indrajit is employing the missile dedicated to Brahma, the creator himself. Its power is inviolable. Let us endure this calamity patiently for a little while. When all of us are injured, Indrajit will surely return to Lanka." And so did he. So when Indrajit saw that by his fire power, all the Vanaras, even Rama and Lakshmana, has fallen on the battlefield, he flew back to Lanka and reported to Ravana. So chapter 73 again, Indrajit's havoc that the Indrajit has created. So it was mentioned here by Valmiki that during that single day, 6,700,000 Vanaras had been slain by Indrajit. And then at that time, Vibhishana, Hanuman, was not affected by the missile sent by Indrajit. So Vibhishana and Hanuman was going around the battlefield, and they saw Jambavan, the king of bears, Jambavan, lying wounded. Vibhishana questioned Jambavan, "Oh mighty Jambavan, are you alive? How are you, Jambavan? How do you feel?" And Jambavan replied, "I cannot see. I'm unable to see, but from your voice, I believe you are Vibhishana. Please tell me at once, is Hanuman still alive?" And Vibhishana asked Jambavan, "Why do you ask about Hanuman before you inquire about Rama and Lakshmana?" Jambavan replied, "For a very good reason, O Vibhishana. If Hanuman is alive, then all our survival is possible." Then Hanuman himself spoke to Jambavan, who said, "O great hero, O mighty hero, it is time for you to show your supernormal power. You can revive Rama, Lakshmana, and all the Vanaras. No one else can do it. Only you can do it. Proceed to the mountain covered with ice, to the Himalayas. Between Rishabha and Kailasha mountains, you will see blazing mountain of herbs. There you shall find 4 herbs: Vritta Sanjeevini, Vishalakarani, Suvarnakarani, Sandanakarani. Bring these with greatest expedition." Immediately Hanuman left. He flew towards the direction. Hanuman lost no time. With a mighty roar, which struck terror in the hearts of the demon. Hanuman blazed like fire and took off in the air with great roar. Soon he reached the place described by Jambavan. He saw the hermitage of the sages. He saw Rishabha and Kailasha mountain. He also saw between them the radiant herbs. But when he landed to collect them, he could not see them. It was said the herbs will hide. They didn't want to reveal themselves. So, distress and puzzle, Hanuman thought for a while and he came to a decision. He thought, since I cannot see the herbs, I shall uproot the whole hill, the whole mountain and carry it away. So uprooting the whole hill, Hanuman was airborne again. Soon he was back in Lanka. So as soon as Hanuman landed, by merely inhaling the air that wafted from the hills of the herb, Rama, Lakshmana, and millions of wounded Vanaras were restored to perfect health. But for the demon, Ravana decreed that the dead one should be thrown into the ocean so that the casualties might not be known. Hanuman then returned the hill to the original state. You can't leave it there. When you have taken something from somewhere, you have to take it and return it to the original position. That's what Hanuman did. Later, when Rama fighting with Ravana, when Lakshmana will be hit, Hanuman will again go and bring Sanjeevi Karma. The herbs will be brought again by Hanuman and then he will go and return it back to the original place. So, all the Vanaras, Rama, everyone, they came back. Now, Sugriva said, now that Kumbhakarna is dead, and even so the sons of Ravanas have been killed, Lanka defense has been shattered. Let us carry out immediate attack. So Vanaras broke into the city. They set fire to wherever they saw. They set fire to the gates, to the huge mansion. Tens of thousands of houses in Lanka were reduced to ashes. Rama and Lakshmana too regained their health and strength, fully took up their weapon and led the invasion. The wound of their weapons struck terror in the hearts of the demons. The missiles shattered the gates of the city. However, when the missiles of Rama rained fire on top of the mansion of the demons, they became furious. Sugriva commanded the Vanaras to enter the city and warned, anyone who turns off his back and slackens this effort should be shot by others for guilt of disobeying the king. So what happened? Ravana saw the Vanaras and Rama invading the city of Lanka. He became furious. He commanded the heroes, Kumbha, Nikumba, Yupaksha, Sonitaksha, Prajangha, and Kampana to the battlefield. These mighty heroes marched forward to meet the Rakshasa forces. A terrible battle ensued between the Vanaras and the demons. Angada challenged Kampana. The latter hit Angada with mace, severely wounded. Angada managed to hold himself up. He picked up the huge mountain and threw at Kampana, and the demon was dead. Sonitaksha challenged Angada with a missile showered upon Angada. Sonitaksha jumped to the ground and had a hand-to-hand fight with Angada. Angada dug his sword deep into the body of the demon who fell unconscious. When Sonitaksha became unconscious, Angada, still brandishing his sword, went around looking for someone else to challenge. At the same time, Prajangha and Yupaksha were coming towards Angada, and Sonitiksha too, who recovered in the meantime, joined them. At the same time, Mainda and Divida, the son of twin Ashwins, the Amshas of twin Ashwin, came to help Angada. The three warriors fighting with the demons was a hair-raising spectacle. They fought with trees, rocks, missiles for some time. Rajangha clenched his fist and wished to strike Angada. At the same time, Sonitaksha struck Angada on his forehead, which made him fall down. Getting up, Angada knocked Rajangha's head off with his feet. Vipaksha picked up Rajangha's sword and began to fight. Divida caught hold of Vipaksha. Sonitaksha struck Divida in defense of Vipaksha. Divida snatched Sunitaksha's mace. Mainda came to help Divida and struck Vipaksha. After a fierce fight, Divida tore the face of Sonitaksha and throwing him to the ground, crushed him. Mainda grappled Vipaksha in his arm, crushed him, and he fell dead. So the demon moved to where Kumbhakarna's son Kumbha was. Kumbha was of extraordinary strength and had supernatural powers. He surprised Divida by aiming a missile at him. Divida fell down, breathing in agony. Mainda rushed towards him, his brother Mainda, okay, hurled a rock at Kumbha, who broke it with his missile. Hurt by Kumbha's missile, Mainda fell unconscious on the field. Similarly, Kumbha attacked Angada with his terrible missiles. However, Angada remained unshaken. Angada hurled huge rocks on Kumbha, who broke it with his missile, and then shot Angada on its eyebrows. Unminded of the bleeding and the pain, Angada continued to fight. When, however, Kumbha shot 7 missiles simultaneously at him, Angada fainted. So at that time, Sugriva joined the battle. Rushing towards Kumbha, Sugriva wrested Kumbha's weapon from his hand and broke it. Thereupon he said to Kumbha, Ravana's strength is the fruit of the boon he obtained from Brahma. Your father was strong by nature. You are equal to your father and to Ravana. Surely you have exhibited great strength by striking the Vanara heroes down. You are fatigued. You are tired, Kumbha. Oh, take a rest. Then I shall show you my strength. That is what said by Sugriva to Kumbha. I do not want to attack someone who is tired. But when Kumbha heard this from Sugriva, he was very furious. So Kumbha was enraged. He attacked Sugriva. Sugriva picked up the demon and threw him into the sea. Kumbha returned and he landed a terrible blow on Sugriva's chest, which broke his hammer. And it generated sparks of fire. And then Sugriva, King Sugriva, clenched his fist and struck the demon's chest. Hit by Sugriva, the demon Kumbha fell dead. The earth shook and the demons were filled with fear. So here, one by one, if you see, one by one, the demons that were sent by Ravana have been defeated by Vanaras. Have been defeated. Remember, starting from Dhumraksha to Rajadramsta to Akampana, Prahasta, and then later Narantaka, Devantaka, Trishara, Atikaya, Mahasparsha, Mahodara, and then now all these Vanaras, all of them one by one have been killed. So when Kumbha was killed, his brother Nikumba rushed towards Sugriva and stood gazing at him, consuming him like with anger. Nikumba had a weapon, a club, but Hanuman stepped in front of Nikumba, pat his chest and sought a fight. Nikumba hit Hanuman with a club, and behold, the club broke into pieces. And Hanuman struck the demon with his clenched fist, and this broke his hammer, and blood flowed from his chest. Setting himself after the blow, the demon caught hold of Hanuman and carried him away. But after a while, Hanuman released himself from the demon's grip, stood on the ground and struck Nikumba, crushed him, and sitting on his chest, twisted the demon's neck, and the demon was dead. So Kumba, Nikumba, the sons of Kumbakarna now have been defeated. Kumba was defeated by, was killed by Sugriva. Nikumba was killed by Hanuman. Then Ravana flew into rage. He summoned another Rakshasa called Makaraksha. Makaraksha is a son of Kara. Kara was defeated by Rama, was killed by Rama in Dantakaranya, in Janastan. Okay? And Ravana dispatched him to the battlefield, followed by a huge army. Makaraksha went into the battlefield. And for Makaraksha, same as the other demons, they saw evil omens, the omens that are not very good, but they ignored. So when the Vanaras were harassed by the demons, Rama himself came to their aid. So Rama himself came to fight with Makaraksha. Makaraksha addressed Rama and said, "Wait, you shall fight with me, not with the warriors. From the day I heard of you killing my father, I have been waiting for this opportunity. Fight with whatever strength that you have, whatever muscle that you have, with your own arms." And Rama laughed at its boast and replied, "Victory in war is not won by vain boasting, O demon. That day, the birds and the bees of the forest had their hunger satisfied by the flesh of 14,000 demons and that of your father. They will have another feast today. A terrible fight ensued. The demons' missiles were intercepted by Rama's counter missiles. Gods and celestials witnessed this battle. Rama and Makaraksha hit each other with powerful missiles. Rama knocked down the demon's weapon. The demon jumped on the ground with his trident. He hurled it at Rama, who intercepted it in the air. The demon rushed towards Rama, and Rama aimed at him a missile dedicated to Agni. Agni Astra was released by Rama, and the demon Makaraksha fell dead. Witnessing the death of Makaraksha, the demons fled to Lanka, afraid of weapons of Rama. So here, in this session, 28th session, we have covered 20 chapters. It's quite long, 20 chapters. Some of the chapters I have summarized. In fact, it's very long if you go through some of the descriptions. If you read the preliminary readings, it's quite long. So it's all have been summarized. So some of the important things we learned here, some Kumbhakarna Vadam. Kumbhakarna has been slain. And then when Rama, Lakshmana, and the Vanaras were again born by Indrajit's missile, Hanuman was sent by Jambavan to get the herbs. So these are the two important things that we covered. And then if you want to look into lessons, there are many. Okay, especially from the dialogue between Rama and Kumbhakarna. When Kumbhakarna, after he was awakened, he went to the court of Ravana. And then what was the message that he mentioned that he gave to Ravana? All has been mentioned. In Kamba Ramayana, you will find before Kumbhakarna will be slain by Ravana, before Kumbhakarna enters into the battlefield, there will be a dialogue between Vibhishana and Kumbhakarna on Dharma. What is Dharma? Vibhishana will be mentioning about Dharma from his side. Kumbhakarna will be mentioning about Dharma from his side. If you are familiar with Mahabharata, you will also have some similar character. One is Vikarna, and the other one is Yuyutsu. Yuyutsu is a Kaurava born to Dhritarashtra, but not through Gandhari. Yuyitsu was born to Dhritarashtra through Vaishya. So before the battle between the Pandavas and Kauravas, when Yudhishthira will tell whoever feels that the Dharma on this side, you can come on here, or whoever from this side want to go to the other side, you can go to the other side. So what will happen? Yuyutsu will join the Pandavas, and Yuyutsu will be the only remaining son of Dhritarashtra who will survive the war. Vikarna will be killed by Bhima. So you find Vikarna something like what Kumbhakarna did. Karna had his own dharma. Kumbhakarna had his own dharma. Vibhishana had his own dharma. Those of you in the WhatsApp, I have shared with you the character analysis of Vibhishana and also Kumbhakarna. So in order to understand these two different characters and what is dharma for them, please read the character analysis. Quite a detailed character analysis that has been given from both Kamba Ramayana and also Valmiki Ramayana. Okay, so we have completed our session, 28th session of Srimad Valmiki Ramayanam. So remaining we have 29, 30, 31st and 32nd. Next week will be Indrajit will go again into the battlefield. Then after that Ravana, and then after that is Agni Pariksha, then Pattabhisheka. Okay. So if there are any questions, you can write in a chat session. I will take it maybe after a few sessions. Maybe next session I will pick it together and I will answer for you. Okay. Thank you. Jai Sri Ram.